The question is, what words of wisdom can you offer to the next generations, those young people who are not yet adults? So think about when you're sitting in the room here now, you're all relatively young, so when you're 80 years old and the new 20-year-olds are sitting there, what would gender look like for them, or what advice could you give to them? What words of wisdom to that next generation?
I really strongly believe that for this generation, my generation that's coming up in the next one, obviously things like Phluid are so great because they give people a safe space and they give people the freedom to express themselves and be themselves. I think in terms of progress and taking things even a step further, and this is why I make the kind of films that I make and do the kind of things that I do, I want to reach people who don't accept that. I think it's important to reach people who have a different perspective, who don't understand that. You know, it's so great to support one another and to help lift each other up, but I think, you know, there are some cases when preaching to the choir doesn't always help. And sometimes you need to create a space where people can begin to understand each other. And, you know, instead of coming out and saying, this is who I am, if you don't like it, fuck you. You know, it's like, this is who I am, and I want you to understand why this is who I am, and I want to know who you are. You know, and I think it's so important to educate people without being patronizing, and to help people who don't respect you to respect you, not just because of you, but because of them. You know, if people aren't on the same page, you know, there's a reason for that. It's not always, you know, people are hateful, but it's not always because of an evil inside of them. You know, I came from a place where being gay was seen as being evil, and a lot of people don't understand. It's just a different perspective, and I think to make real impactful change that will continue to, through generations, get better and better, we need to reach out beyond just ourselves and really connect with people who don't understand where we're coming from, and really connect with people and try to see their point of view as well, where we can come to an understanding, and then there'll be less, you know, we live in a really divisive time, and there's a huge divide right now in our country, and we really need to stop trying to just say, this is who I am. You know, if you don't agree with it, you know, I'm fine with who I am. Our job, if we're comfortable with who we are, is to help other people understand us and to try and understand them too. And that's the only way that real change can happen, I think.
Susan, is there a place where people can connect with you that you're willing to share? Maybe learn about your artwork, or where your films will be shown?
Well, right now I'm working on a feature film, but in terms, I mean, you can talk to me after or anything like that. I'm so open to talking to anyone about that. But yeah, I mean, the film that I'm working on right now is a feature film, and it is full of queer characters, with the emphasis not at all being on the fact that they're queer. And it's a story about queer people that has nothing to do with them being queer people. And I think that will hopefully reach audiences that maybe don't care. Just you know, I want to reach people, and I want people to say, that was a great movie, you know, despite the fact that these people were gay. That starts to normalize it. That starts to say, you know what, I related to this. Not because they're just like me, but because I understand them. And that's where the universality comes in, I think. So, yeah, I mean, talk to me. Yeah, sure.
Cool. The thing that's coming up for me is what a friend of mine, Peter Smith, who is a genderqueer, incredibly talented comedian and artist, said in wake of the memo that Trump put out a couple of weeks ago, and was like, reach out to your middle school guidance counselor, queer, like gender warriors, people who have safety, people who have stability, like people who are adults, and then people who have wisdom, education, experience to share about moving through the world in a non-normative way in terms of gender and sexuality. Like, check in on the places that you're from and the kids who are there and talk to them. Maybe give them resources. Maybe just tell them, like, hey, being fluid or trans or gay or questioning can look like this, and it can be fucking awesome, or these are the ways that it's scary, or these are the questions I have. What are your questions? That really struck me because I thought, like, I had the internet and I had plenty of ways to get information, but someone reaching out to me in that particular way would have been powerful. And in terms of the future, I would love to see a legalization of a non-binary gender, like if it's they, them, or if it's something else, that would be fucking awesome. And then actually just like give yourselves ultimate permission to self-determine, and then like the love and peace surrounding that to let that flourish.
Just to echo both of those sentiments, and I think just listening to the inner voice, listen to your gut and follow it. And build bridges, especially with people that are important to you in your life that don't understand. Work hard to, try to make those relationships as good as they can be, but also find like-minded people. Find people that are like yourself and support you and understand you, because that's really important across the board in any situation.
Well, when I saw the question about what advice you could share, I thought about how much I'm learning from younger people. So the first thing would be that you know things that older people need to know, particularly when it comes to gender. The flip side of that, because I think a lot of young people are very confident on that point, the flip side of that is that older people know things that you will want to know. And it's really important for our community to build intergenerational connections. I founded something 2 years ago called Sage Table. I work for Sage, which is an organization serving LGBT elders. And tomorrow is Sage Table nationwide. We'll have 150 events in this country and 5 other countries, and they are intergenerational opportunities for us to break bread and to get to know each other. And so if you wanted to know more about that, go to sagetable.org and just sign up for more information.
I don't think it's any accident that I own Man-Made, a gay dating service. I think sometimes we do what we need to learn, and for many years I felt like I was in reaction to being gay and sometimes trying to hide it in conversations. And progressively through the years, I started becoming more and more secure about being gay. And so once I felt that security, and by the way, everyone here is here and out, as opposed to being closeted somewhere. So we should all congratulate ourselves for that. And I think coming from the point of really believing just who I am, but extending to the person I'm talking to who may have a varied point of view, but just being secure in the fact that I'm gay and I'm absolutely fine about it. That, by example, just in a sense putting it to them, as opposed to just thinking, oh, I need to be defensive because if they ask me this, I'm going to do that. Just, you know, we are who we are and just owning it.
I forgot something really important. The legislating the safety of trans and gender nonconforming people in terms of prosecuting violence against, prosecuting crimes of gender, crimes against folks because of their gender, and representation. We actually we're seeing hints of it, but seeing gender nonconforming, trans, fluid folks in positions of power, in positions where they're being paid, and specifically trans and gender nonconforming folks of color and of different locations and different ethnic backgrounds, really seeing the possibility of the gender spectrum and that being something that is supported and integral to this society that we live in, which is capitalist and which is founded in this government and is not currently safe or representative.
And I'll give two thoughts as well for the next generation. The first one is, as a communication expert, is learning to find your voice is an important one. So whatever your voice is, you're never going to please everybody, so you don't try to talk to everybody. The idea of finding your authentic voice is that this is what matters to you, this is what you're passionate about, and you're speaking from your truth. And the more honest you are, you're often going to find that the more backlash you're going to get. So getting comfortable with criticism is not telling you that there's necessarily anything wrong with you. Criticism is often more commentary on the person who's given the criticism than you and the viewpoint that you're sharing. And the second one is the law of attraction. The energy that we put out into the universe is the energy that we get in return. So if you put out love, if that's the approach, you can disagree with love. That's the energy that you want back. If you want love, you're going to have to give love. And really learning what love means, and that's an individual process, right? Learning to love ourselves, learning to other people. Standing up and saying no is love, right? You're not going to accept everything that's coming your way. If you love yourself, you're going to have to say no and set boundaries on things. But it's energetically, where is that no coming from? Is it coming from a place of anger, or is it coming from a place of love, even though the answer is no or yes, whatever.